All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host today, Josh Deming, and we are here today for the pre-match show before the third place game of Copa America between Canada and Uruguay. So I am excited. I hope you guys are as well. Game will kick off in about 2 hours, and we have a good amount to discuss today because there's been some leaks around what Bielsa is planning to do with this roster. I've heard a few things around what I believe Canada is going to do with their roster, which I think is going to give Uruguay a decent advantage here, but we don't know. We'll be here live until the roster or the starting 11 drops. We'll go through it, we'll talk about it, and we'll lead up to the game. So first things first, if you're jumping on the stream now, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from today and answer the question here. Will Canada win their third place match? What do you guys think? We'll talk about some starting 11s. I've done a few. I really don't know what to expect, if I'm being completely honest. I've heard that there's going to be some decent rotation, but I just don't obviously know exactly what that means. And from some reports coming out of Uruguay with their media, it seems like Bielsa is going to go with as strong of a starting 11 as they could possibly go for. So right off the face of things, I'd say Uruguay have a bit of an advantage, but we will have to see. Let's get into the chat, see what you guys are saying today. Luke Carrier says, go Canada. I don't feel good about this match. It looks like Uruguay will play a good side and Canada won't. That is what I've been kind of seeing as well, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Marsh will aim to be competitive. I'm just really curious to see what the starting 11 is going to look like. I honestly don't know. We talked about it a little bit yesterday of players that we think could be in. We don't know Davies' status. We don't know what type of rotation it will look like. Will it be David and Laren out? Will it be Bombito, Cornelius out? Larea, Johnson, or some other players that I could see maybe starting? But, I mean, really, man, I don't know. I really don't know. Davies' status is still unknown. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, Jesse's probably not going to give a lot away beforehand. And who knows? He could also just be playing mind games. The few statements we've seen him make is that there will be rotation and that Luc de Fougerolles, it's got a good chance of starting. But who really knows? Maybe he's just saying that because he doesn't know or doesn't want to give anything away with Davies, and de Fougerolles could be the backup left back. Or maybe he's just, again, playing mind games and just saying things. But we won't really know until it's going out. But we're going to be here talking about it. So if you guys have any thoughts on players that you think will start, who you want to see start, feel free to put it in the chat. I'll bring up my predicted starting 11. And again, guys, I don't know. This very well may not even be close to what we see, but this is just one I kind of came up with. Thought it was somewhat realistic. Obviously, if Davies is fit, maybe he goes in for de Fougerolles. Luke, we put together our best side and learn it's not about winning. Your predictions. Let me know your guys' predictions in the chat. How you guys feeling about today? I feel like I have a bad feeling it's going to be kind of I don't know, a typical third place match, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 scoreline, and I'm going to go with a 1-0 Uruguay win. Just again, that's going off the fact that I think that they're going to play their best 11. We'll have to see. But it's another hot night in an open air field. We're going to need fresher legs. And maybe that's an advantage if Canada does big rotation. Yes, lads, remember the last time we watched Canada versus Uruguay back in the old days? I don't know, the old days, right before the 2022 World Cup? Or are you talking about I'm teary-eyed of how far we've come since. We are going to win. Gordon's excited. I'm tuning in from Saudi Arabia. Yes, I think Canada is going to squeak this one out. Tuning in from Saudi Arabia. Interesting. Is that where you are is that where you're from, or is that where you're just tuning in from today? And if so, what are you doing over in Saudi? That's nice little trip, if so, or unless that's where you live. I don't know. Let me know. The bench players could also play better. Hey, I mean, this has been a long, grueling tournament. These guys have got a lot of minutes under those legs, so some fresh. I mean, it's funny because in the last match we saw Ali Ahmed and Mathieu Chouanier come on, and I thought both looked really, really good. Fresh legs, late in a tournament. It's not a bad idea. I'm torn because I really want to win this match. I think this match matters. If you would have told me before Josh, you're going to be going into Copa America and you're going to walk away with a third place, I'd lose it. That's just it'd be such a cool story. So we're one game away from earning a medal, getting a little reward for this performance, and to go out of this tournament with a high. I've said it plenty of times. Jesse deserves so much credit for coming in and getting 7 weeks with this crew so far and getting them to play the way that they have and squeak out results and just find a way to progress in a very competitive tournament. And I'm very excited to see what could happen today. But on the same side of things, I do want to see some fresh faces. I would love to see what it looks like to have Luc de Fougerolles start. I really would. Whether it's a good or bad idea, I don't know. But I would love to see him get that look and see really what this kid's made of. Ali Ahmed, I think, deserves a start. I'd be kind of surprised if he doesn't start today. Theo Bair, Jason Russell-Rowe are two other strikers that are on the bench that I'd like to see get some action. Theo Bair's a big one for a lot of Canadians. I know you guys have been in the comment section throughout this tournament being like, I want to see Theo Bair. I want to see Theo Bair. So, maybe this is the opportunity for it. Or maybe Jesse surprises everyone and just goes with the same kind of starting 11 we've been seeing because, again, he's playing mind games. I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts. What you would like to see, a best 11, a rotated 11. Why would we not? We've had the extra day rest. That is true. Bombito turned down Botafogo. Good for him after all the abuse he's taken from South Americans. Yeah, I saw that report today. I didn't dig too much into it, but it looked like the Eagle group, which is Botafogo, Crystal Palace, and Lyon. Obviously, there was reports that he was linked to Lyon, which could mean that there could be a loan to Brazil. And it looks like Bombito made it clear he didn't want to go to Brazil. Jesse Marsch wants the young players in. Also, it's a good idea. The beers are cold. Marsch wants to one-up Bielsa. It's the battle of the former Leeds managers, guys. So, I think they're going to want to get one over on each other. David looked so very, very tired, got worse with each match. His touches were atrocious against Argentina. Why not Tanny with Larin to start? I don't know. I'm torn on whether we could see two completely different strikers up front. Larin and David have started every single match under Jesse Marsch. They've got a ton of minutes. They played in some tough conditions. Maybe they switch both of them up. I wouldn't mind to see Jason Russell-Rowe and Theo Bair, if I'm being completely honest. They're two strikers we have not seen yet. I think that their profiles could work together, and I'd love to see them. Both players are in good form. Theo Bair had a phenomenal season in Scotland. Let's see what he can do in a match like this. Jason Russell-Rowe has had some big performances with the crew on route to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. He's been pretty solid in league play as well. I think those two profiles can kind of go with each other. You're kind of traditional number 9 in Bair, and then just maybe a little behind him is Jason Russell-Rowe. But again, I don't know, man. I don't know. We can theorize all around it all we want. I don't know, but I don't know. You could maybe start Larin and Tanny. We saw a little bit of that at the end of the Argentina game. I don't know. I don't know about that duo, but I find it funny that Jesse insulted the ref's decision at the press while sitting next to Bombito yesterday. There's been a lot of clips going viral of Jesse on X. Shinetti got a few, Ben got a few, Hurt got a few. I love him even more, man. The question around the US job was the perfect answer. He literally looked at Shinetti. He's like, come on, man. Come on. You really asking me that? He's like, not a chance. I love this job. And then he took a shot at the Federation and just kind of saying, there's got to be some massive, massive changes if I was ever going to be interested in the US job. I'm here. I'm happy. And I love it. I loved it. That made my day, and I'm hoping Jesse can come in here and pick up a third and can carry on, because honestly, I literally put out a prediction video, guys, and I know I've told you this, but I put out a prediction video saying we weren't going to even make it out of the group. I was trying not to get too hyped. I was trying not to be biased. I was just trying to look at the situation, what 2023 looked like, and I didn't like our chances. And then all of a sudden, Jesse came in, and that gave me a little bit more hope. I kind of thought, all right, this could be just kind of a reaction, maybe. Maybe he can come in with some new ideas. Maybe they work, maybe they don't. And that's kind of what we saw. New ideas, players buying in, some excitement, some stability to the back. And all of a sudden, we grinded out some results, and we got to play all 6 matches at Copa America. So It's been fun. I'm from Albania. I think Canada will win. Cheers, my friend. If you guys are just joining us on the stream today, drop a like, say hello, and let me know your guys' score prediction and kind of what starting 11 you're expecting to see. That was one I just brought up there. This one is FootMobs. It's not probably going to be this starting 11, but Uruguay's might. The reports are that Bielsa is going to go with a very strong starting 11. So we could see something along the lines of this for the Uruguay side. This is what FootMob has for Canada. They have Crepeau, Johnston, Bombito, Cornelius, Davies. But again, I mean, this is just kind of based on what we've seen. And I don't really agree with it because, I mean, one, we don't know Davies' status. I think Kone is going to start for sure, just given the fact that he had a couple matches off in this tournament. I think one, if not both, of David and Laren will be rested. And then there's some other question marks around some of these players because they've had a ton of minutes. I don't know if Richie's going to get a start or not. Bielsa versus Marsh is very exciting. This match is big. It is. It's a chance for third. And a lot of you guys are going back to when the women won bronze, and that was a moment in at least my Canadian soccer experience that really sticks out. And a lot of you guys mentioned, Josh, is it kind of the same? Is it kind of the same? And in a way, in a way it is. I mean, you know, the Olympics are obviously such a big deal for North America, I'd say. Mexico, USA, and Canada love going and participating in the Olympics, and that was just a really special moment at the time. And I think I saw a few debates around what or how this would rank if we pull off third, and I think it's right up there with the bronze that the women got. Do you think Theo Bair is likely to be subbed in? I would say so. I again, I don't know. I'm just going off of what I think. I think there's a chance that Theo comes off the bench or maybe even starts. I think Jesse's going to try to see some new faces. Whether there's some big surprises in the starting 11 or some players coming off the bench that we haven't seen yet. But I'd say that there's a decent chance we'll see Theo Bair today. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm working in Saudi Arabia. Have to stay up till 3 a.m. for this kickoff. I love the dedication, my man. I love the dedication. I think Canada will win. Bielsa is beloved for an Argentine in Uruguay. Given maybe that exists culturally, he's going for the win, no doubt. Yeah, it seems like that way. It seems like Uruguay do not want to lose this match, despite, you know, maybe how much they actually want to play in it, considering everything that happened in that semifinal. We'll have to see. I think David and Laren are both tired. I think so as well. Were there any fines to Colombia or Uruguay? There's an investigation going on, at least from the last time I looked at the story. I was just more concerned about, you know, what impact it could have on Canada, but it seems like there's 11 players that were named that could be in for a potential punishment, suspension, fine, something along those lines. But it's not going to take place before the Canada match, which means all players are available, and I don't mind it. I mean, I think it's tough, the situation, seeing players have to go into the stands to protect their families. There's ugly scenes, and you've seen it all over X and social media. Players saying, if I was Darwin Nunez and I saw my family in trouble, I'd do the same thing. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm hoping that they don't get punished too much. And I'm glad that the players are here because it's going to lead to hopefully a better game or a better test, at least for Canada today. And I think Eustachio also looks very tired. Maybe Chouanier in for Eustachio. The big question mark for me with Eustachio is that, like, he is really, unless we want to go with Piet, he's our main six. Like, I don't know what a midfield would look like if you took him out of it. I feel like you'd have to put Piet in just to kind of balance his team out. I've went over a couple different starting 11s I think could maybe work if you didn't want to start Eustachio and you didn't want to play Piet and play like a 3-4 or 3-5-2 and have Chouanier, Azorio, and Kone in there. Gonna have to ask a lot out of Kone and Chouanier in the defensive side of the game. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know what you guys think. Would you start this match without Eustachio or Piet in it? I just don't know how that midfield would look. Eustachio was brought off too in the 72nd minute, so, you know, maybe he could start and go another 70, maybe. The team who fouls most tonight will win. The team who lies around the pitch pretending they are dying will win. A reference to Argentina, I assume. Rivalry, sure, but we see others as brothers. The match is won or lost in the midfield, right? I think it can be. I mean, if you look at Uruguay's midfield, Valverde, Kate, like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, that's a tasty looking midfield, and that's the reason I want to see Stefan Eustáquio start in this match if possible. I'd love to see Eustáquio, Kone, and just try out a three-player midfield, but I feel like every time I say that, it's going on deaf ears. Doesn't seem like it's really realistic, so I'm hoping I see Kone and Eustáquio start, and then depending how the match goes and how Eustáquio's legs is, maybe you take him off and in comes Chouanier. I don't know, but I really don't know. Maybe Piet does start. Maybe it's Piet and Kone in the midfield, and I think that would be a battle. Also, Johnston must be very tired. Johnston's stamina is just incredible, man. I mean, he's definitely tired. I mean, there's a ton of players on this Canada team that have played the majority of the minutes. Johnston, Bombito, Cornelius, although Cornelius did have a match off. Who else? Eustáquio's had a ton of minutes. David Laren. Larea's come in and out. Schaffelberg's come in and out. Kone's come in and out. Larea could go to left back or right back if you wanted to rest Johnston. You have Kyle Hebert and Joel Waterman you could maybe look at as well. If Canada wins this match in 90, they'll climb about another 10 ranks in the FIFA ranking. Big jump. Be a statement, man. They've done some damage this tournament so far. I'd like to see players who finished against Argentina start the game. Roll the dice. Let's go. I hope Davies is not injured. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know Davies' update right now. Just go on Twitter here and see what maybe if there's any update or anything on Davies, but I haven't seen anything. And I still don't. Nothing really. I don't know. We'll have to tell. We'll have to wait and see. Jeff comes in with a super chat. Tack and I will be watching while in the jacuzzi. The Rude Canadians play tonight. Best of luck. Zesty Jeff. Soaking in the jacuzzi with Tact, eh? I appreciate the super chat, Jeff. I hope you and Tact have a lovely time. And I hope Canada wins and Filippo can be a little salty about it. Because I saw him go, he can't help himself. Just when he's feeling a little bored, he goes on X and just throws out a few insults. Just for good measure. So we'll have to wait and see. But cheers, Jeff. I appreciate it. This is where our depth will be tested. I think both teams will be motivated. I think both teams will be motivated. I don't know. I feel Canada's going to be motivated more. I feel like Canada will be more up for this match. I just worry about the starting 11 and the players that Jesse Marsh are going to go with. Because if the reports are right and Bielsa goes with his best 11, it's already a giant task to make our best 11 go up against Uruguay because Uruguay is a great team. And if we do heavy rotation, it's gonna make for an interesting game. Our guys who play in MLS are much more physically capable of playing this kind of game because they are conditioned to play in this heat, humidity, and poor pitches. We have 13 MLS players on this roster. I believe that's the number. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with that, Gord. But I think if we go with our best 11, there's going to be a lot of players that aren't from Major League Soccer in it. But doesn't mean that our MLS players can't be useful and can't be used to this environment. But give me your guys' score predictions. If you're just joining the chat, drop a like. Let me know where you're tuning in from today. Let me know if you're excited for the match, and let me know your score predictions. It's hard to give a prediction, like I said, for this third place match because we don't know what the starting 11s could look like. I'm just going with my gut. I just kind of feel like it's going to be like a 1-0 scoreline. Maybe it's Canada. Maybe it's Uruguay. If you're going to push me on it, I'm going to go with Uruguay. But I really don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm excited nonetheless. This has been a really fun tournament to watch, to see Canada do well in. And I'm excited. But we're going to go through a potential starting 11 again. No, we're not. I can't even bother, man. I can't even bother. I don't know what the starting 11 is going to look like. These are not the confirmed lineups. I'm going to remove it. Those are just the projected starting 11 coming from FootMob. The starting 11s probably won't come out until like closer to 7. If you guys see the starting 11s drop, let me know. I'll bring up OneFootball. I don't know what it is with OneFootball, but they've seemed to be able to drop the starting 11s well in advance before Soccer Canada has announced it, but they're not up yet. Once they are up, we've had some guys in the chat keeping us up to date. We will bring it up. Don't get me wrong. I want Canada to win so bad. I do too. I really do. Which is kind of why I want to see us go with our best 11. I just don't know if we're actually going to. I feel like with the fact that we basically went with our best 11, or at least our core players throughout the majority of this tournament, means that rotation will probably come in a third place match. You also have the new season starting soon. Preseason's already getting underway. Teams probably don't want to see players risked. Davies' injury as well. We don't know what it's going to be like. So it's, I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard to tell. But we got a prediction coming in from Gord. He says 3-1 Canada. That'd be a fun game. Not the confirmed starting 11s. I'll get them up when they're up. Jordan says, I'm horned up for the game. I like that. Just absolutely torqued, ready to go. Surely got to see Tanny net one tonight. He's right on the verge. He's had a lot of chances, man. He's had a lot of good looks. It's funny because like there's been a little bit of criticism obviously towards Davies and Laren. I know David and Laren. I know David scored, but we've had clear-cut chances throughout this tournament, and both strikers have not taken their chances. And us Canadian fans were getting excited about Tanny because when he's come on, he's looked dangerous. He's created chances for himself. He scored, but it was ruled offside. But he's missed a couple of good chances as well. So, I mean, we've been saying David and Laren have been on the verge of scoring for a few games now, and they've had some fluffed chances. But Tanny comes on hungry, and he brings a little something different to the game. I think he's got a good chance of starting. I don't know if it's going to be as a lone striker, if Laren or David, one of them will start beside him. Maybe you go with Bear, Russell Rowe. Maybe you go with Azorio and switch up the shape. I don't know, but I'd imagine Tanny to have a good look. Or maybe if Jesse wants to see a lot of change, he's going to keep Tanny on the bench because we've already seen him come off, and maybe he goes with Bear or Jason Russell Rowe. I feel like I just keep repeating myself because I genuinely have no idea what we're going to do today. Jesse's been a little – he hasn't let too much go, and if you want to listen and believe everything that he said, there will be rotation. Luke DeFougerolles may start, and we'll have to wait and see how Davies is. Uruguay has very rarely been a top 10 team. Canada can win this if they play well. Of course, they have not been playing all that well, at least not scoring goals. Yeah, this tournament was about getting results and showing that we can progress through tournament, I'd say. And that's all you can expect with a manager coming in 7 weeks, or has been on the job now for a total of 7 weeks. I think the big advantage that would go Canada's way today is the fact that whether Bielsa says that he's playing the best 11 or he says his players will be up for it or he wants this, at the end of the day, it's obviously going to be up to the players. I don't know how motivated. Maybe they are completely motivated, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're super disappointed by the way that they were one of the tournament favorites, that they played up a man for 45 minutes against Colombia, couldn't find a way through. And then obviously the terrible scenes that happened to them maybe just took them out of this and they don't want to be here. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I could really think anything can happen tonight. I think we could see a ugly game that players just aren't that engaged, or at least Uruguay aren't that engaged. That's why my prediction's 1-0. I just feel like that's going to be the type of game we're going to see today. But maybe there's a ton of rotation, and Bielsa was lying as well. And all of a sudden it's the two kind of like B teams coming together, and they're fresh legged and they're excited and they want to prove themselves. And it's an exciting game. I don't know. Another advantage we didn't have to leave North Carolina after the Argentina game. We know the pitch. Bombito, Crepeau, Schaffelberg play in Major League Soccer, all contenders for player of the tournament for Canada. Yes, I'd say Johnston. I think I asked you guys last stream, and let me know what you guys think. Who do you think is Canada's player of the tournament? Let me know. There's 3 names that come to mind for myself. Crepeau, Schaffelberg, and I'd say Johnston. I think Bombito's had a really good tournament. but I think that, he's shown that he's raw, and he's shown that he's still learning because he's had a decent amount of mistakes in this tournament. And that's just going to happen. Like he's in his first real professional career or professional season right now with the Rapids, and he's done really, really well to earn this spot. And he's a perfect profile, I think, to grow under Jesse Marsh and maybe take that next step. But he's still got a lot of learning to do. Very raw, like I said, and he's had a lot of really good moments, and he's shown why he can be a big player for Canada going forward, how quick he is. I think he's very smart on the ball. I think he's a good passer as well. But at the same time, like the Rondon goal, for example, positioning wasn't quite there. He got muscled off the ball. There's going to be learning opportunities for him. I think he had a great tournament. I wouldn't put him in the top 3 for myself. I think Crepeau has been absolutely incredible. Maybe the keeper of the tournament. I think Schaffelberg has just been probably one of the funnest players to watch, even if you're a neutral. You're not even a Canada fan. I've seen a lot of guys come on these streams and comments and being like, who's 14? I'm not familiar with 14's game. Like 14's a fun player to watch. Like, this guy's fun. He's direct. Why is he not in Europe? And then Alistair Johnston just very quietly has had a phenomenal tournament. I think Eustachio's it's been quiet under the radar, but has had a really good tournament as well. I think Bombito and Cornelius both have been strong, but I probably wouldn't put either one of them in my personal top 3 for the tournament. I would love to see both teams put out good squads. Canada needs to be aggressive while keeping their shape. I would like that too. I would love to see kind of like the best 11s go at each other. I just don't think it's realistic. Not the way that Canada handled the tournament with their rotation. If we would have seen a decent amount of rotation throughout the group stage and maybe the odd change here and there, and these players could be a little bit fresher, then maybe I could see it. But I feel like this is the opportunity for Jesse to probably make an okay amount of changes. And that's kind of what I'm expecting. Probably, I'd say maybe 60% the best 11, 40% like new players kind of coming in. If you think about it, this is probably the most important match before the World Cup in 2026. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I'd say that the semifinal match against Argentina was probably like the peak. Top nation, semifinal, chance to go to a final. That was a really good opportunity. Didn't quite take it. But this is another opportunity, and I think Canada's going to be up for it. I think they're going to want this 3rd place finish. I think that there's hopefully still going to be a good chunk of the starting 11. Some maybe hungry other players that come in here, hopefully come up with a big game. And I think taking 3rd place at this Copa America is something to be super, super proud about, especially just given all the circumstances around what 2023 was for this Canadian program, getting Jesse Marsh in when we did. And I don't know about you guys. I went into the World Cup with more expectations than I did in this Copa America, given the form we were in leading into the World Cup. And after that humbling experience, I didn't know. I didn't know if we had it in us to ride that kind of form we were in under Biello. And Jesse came in and just, I think, gave us Canadian fans a whole bunch of life. And I think he's nailed it. He's pretty much nailed it throughout. And he's going to learn. He's going to get better, man. He is. He's come in just with almost no time. That's just so difficult to do. And I have the most respect to see what he's done. I know it hasn't been pretty. It's not like we've steamrolled teams to make it to the semis, now to a 3rd. I know that there's a lot of work still to do, but I didn't know if we'd make it here. I really didn't. And it's been impressive to see what he's done in such little time with this group of guys. And, maybe it's time for the 3rd place game to get some new players in so he can see what these players can do in a situation like this and maybe push on and try to go for a 3rd. I hope to see Ali in the starting lineup. I think he will be in the starting 11. If I had to guess, I think Ahmed will be on the right, just like Greg's saying here. I have a feeling Tanny will start, and I kind of have a feeling Schaff will start too. Like the starting 11 I made is I still kind of think that's might be what we see. Finishing has been poor. It has been an issue throughout this tournament. Kyle says, win or lose, this game is one more to gain experience against the great teams of the world. And hopefully with this experience, we can waste less chances in the future. Yeah, it is. We're not going to have games like this pretty much after this, with no disrespect to CONCACAF. We're obviously a part of it, but our big games, leaving friendlies apart, and our next 2 friendlies are against the United States and Mexico, will be Gold Cup and will be the Nations League. a lot of CONCACAF opposition. And like I said, our next set of friendlies are against CONCACAF opposition. Hopefully, we'll be able to line up some solid friendlies before the 2026 World Cup, but they're friendlies. This is a competitive match against a top nation for a chance to win bronze. It's a big game. And I'd love to see our best 11, like I said, but unfortunately, just the way that the tournament was kind of managed, and Jesse trying to get everything out of our players in that semifinal to get to a final and maybe push our luck from there. We weren't able to do it. We find ourselves in the third place match, and maybe we don't go with our best 11. Maybe we do. We'll have to wait and see. But there's going to be a lot on the line, and this is going to be a huge learning opportunity for a lot of these players, and I'm excited for it. Jordan says, I have a lot of respect for Uruguay. They are my South American team. It's a great opportunity for our players to get more experience playing a top nation. Echoes what Kyle said, and I 100% agree, man. And I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for the third place match. A lot of people aren't, and I don't know how the Uruguay fans think, if they're as excited, whether their players are up for it or not. But for this Canadian program, this is the big game, and there's no way around it. This is a big game, and I think our players and our fan base should be up for it. Hot, hot, hot. Not sure how pretty we can expect the football to be tonight. Yeah, I feel like if we wanted a chance at pretty football, it would have to be like I said, the second stringers on both teams. Not as much quality on the pitch, but fresh players, opportunity to maybe prove themselves. Even though it's gonna be hot, it could be a fun game, but that's probably not what we're going to see. And like I said, my prediction is gonna be 1-0. Mexico also takes third place games seriously. They do. They picked up a bronze at a recent Olympics as well. I think they've had a couple of bronze in Copa Americas over the years as well. Would answer that, Omar? Unfortunately, I don't know what that says. Johnson impressed me this tournament. He impressed me as well. Has to be Schaffelberg. Come on, scored 1 goal, assist. Oh, you're saying for player of the tournament has to be Schaffelberg? I have Schaffelberg in my top 3. I have him in my top 3. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who to go with. I feel like I might go with Crepeau. But Schaffelberg's in my top 3 for sure. Schaffelberg to PSG. Maybe PSV. Maybe PSV could be a realistic one. They love their CONCACAF players. Chucky Lozano left, that right-hand side. You never know. Big Speed says, Tanny starts, we win. We start looking to pass this bench that never plays and get players they will play. Winning a bronze medal is a big deal. In this program, it's a big deal. And I'd argue in the U.S. program as well. I think if you offered them a third place finish at this tournament before it started, I bet you they would take it. I think it'd be a proud moment for this Canadian program. We've never even been at a Copa America before, and not only if we are able to win this game do we walk away with a third, but we defeat a team with the quality of Uruguay. Looks like U.S. men's national team hiring another MLS coach. Canada got it right with Jesse and his European coaching resume. I thought Canada nailed it out of the park when they picked up Jesse Marsch. I've talked about Jesse for a while. In the back of my mind, I didn't know if it was ever actually going to happen. But knowing that he had a connection to Canada with his time with the Impact, I know that he wanted the job back in 2012. I just wasn't sure if we could afford him, if he would really be interested now. I don't know. I was going when we were doing all the videos and how to do content around it, just for kind of projecting what we would like to see. Jesse was at the top of my list because I thought he was realistic. I think he was the best probably manager we could have picked up. And obviously we had to lean into some MLS clubs to make it happen. And he's come in and he seems so energized. He seems like this is just a perfect fit for him at the stage of his career. I believe he wants to be here. He gets a World Cup. He gets a Copa America. He gets the best Canadian pool we've ever seen. This is our golden generation right now. And I think he's going to have some fun with it over the next few years. As for the U.S., yeah, I think Steve Cherundolo probably will get the job. Klopp is not going to take that job. We already know that. I think he's already politely declined. And just given everything we kind of know about the U.S. Federation, I would put money. I was gonna text Tack and I was gonna be like, "Hey, wanna have a bet? I'll give you $200 if Klopp somehow becomes your manager, and you give me 100 if Schrundelo does." But I didn't want to bug him. He seemed upset. He seemed sad. Every competitive match this group gets together is huge, and we should be taking it seriously to cement our mentality. I like that, Dave, and I agree. Big game for us, and maybe for some new players. It could be. Trying to think of players that honestly have a realistic chance. I think have a realistic chance to start that we haven't we haven't seen. Well, not seen, but like I think Chouanier, Ahmed, and Tanny all have a decent chance to start. And then maybe Luke Defougerol because of what Jesse said. I would have been surprised to see Luke, if I'm being completely honest, before the tournament. I think I said that. Alphonso Davies walked in the dressing room with no limp or wrap on his ankle from Matthew Shinetti. If anyone hasn't seen that. So he said the Canadian men's national team just arrived, and Davies walked in the dressing room with no limp or any wrap on his ankle. So, so I don't know. Maybe Davies does start. I can't believe I'm cutting the lawn listening to Canada soccer pregame. Smart man, Jason. I love it. If I told you Canada got a good coach, any listen? I certainly did. I agree. Good mate, Josh. Or good mate, Jason. Cutting the line. Getting stuff done and tuning into the boys. I like it. USA doing USA things. Shake my head. Hope the boys stay safe. What does Kripo need tonight to secure the Golden Glove? A clean sheet, 4 or 5 saves? That's a good question. I don't know if they're going to give it to Kripo. Like, if Martinez and Argentina win and he has a solid game, I just kind of feel like it's going to go to him. I'd say to give Kripo a chance, he'd have to put up a clean sheet tonight and have maybe like 3 or 4 like crazy world-class type saves and maybe 6-7 saves total, like to even put him in the conversation. But if Argentina win tonight, I'd say it's almost a guarantee that it's going to go to Martinez. But that's my opinion. I don't know. Jesse said he's glad where he's at. He said he doesn't want the U.S. men's national team job either. He said too much going around in the federation. Yeah, he did. And makes me like him even more. He doesn't want the U.S. job. I really don't believe he does. And there was some worry when he first got hired. A few people, which is crazy. A few people asked me that. I said, what happens if the U.S. have a bad tournament? Just given the side of the bracket we were on, there was some debate that Canada would just have a better tournament because we were in an easier group and we have an easier path to the semifinals, which is exactly what happened. If we would have swapped positions, there's probably a very good chance we didn't make the semifinals, because even if we got out of the U.S.'s group, if we took their place and we defeated Panama, Bolivia, maybe we got something out of Uruguay, but we made it to the semifinals, it still would have been a very tough match because we would have got Brazil or Colombia. It's tough, but I remember getting asked a few times, what happens if the U.S. crash out, Canada does well? Is Jesse Marsh going to be tempted by the U.S. job? I can't speak for Jesse, but back then I said, I don't think so. I said, I think he wants this job. I think he wants to be here. I think he knows that this pool is talented. It can fit his system. There's a lot of players that, he's touched on and he's already used. Bombito was one even before seeing the very first game that Alex and I discussed quite a bit of as a player that could fit the system and one that could be relied on right away. And I was even a little questionable about it. I'm like, do you think really he'll get tossed in the starting 11 just like that? And he did. And I think he loves where he's at right now. And why mess with it? He just came in. You've had a great Copa America showing. You've won over the fans very easily. The players really respect you. You got a great pool to pick from. More and more players are going over to Europe and taking bigger steps, and then you get a co-host of World Cup. And Jesse's still young, he could get the U.S. job in 10 years maybe if he wanted it then, but I think he's happy. I don't think there's a worry about him leaving, and he kind of said that to Shinetti earlier. Who is not here and is next up to be in the future? So you're talking about a Canadian player who didn't make the team that I think could be one for the future. A couple players come to mind. Jaden Nelson and Theo Corbiano are two for me. Just Theo Corbiano is an interesting one because he's a very unique profile of winger. He's been in this program at a young age. He's had a couple of tough seasons at club level. He got a move to La Liga, which is crazy to know that the Canadian national team are going to a tournament and not bringing a player playing in a top 5 league, which is crazy. I know they got relegated, but Theo did score a nasty goal too early on in his time with Granada. I think if he can have a good season in the second division, he could be one. I'm a big fan of Jaden Nelson too. I'm a big fan of Mo Farsi, but from the people I've talked to, unfortunately, it doesn't seem that there's interest in representing Canada. There's Daniel Jebison as well, but again, I don't know if and when he'll ever commit. So I'd probably go with Theo. I think he could be a wild card. No injury for Davies. Those Real Madrid medics are miracle workers. Yeah, we'll see. In your opinion, who's the next Canadian national team player to go to Europe from Major League Soccer? I think Bombito, right off the bat, just given the links and the stories that we've heard. Lyon are interested. Other clubs in Liga are interested. I think he's had a very strong tournament, but I think a lot of coaches would look at him and realize that there's not only did he have a good showing through this tournament, but there's a lot of room for improvement. I don't know if I want to see him really go to Lyon, even though it's a big move. I just don't know if he'd play. And then, again, I think their idea was to maybe send him to Brazil on loan. He doesn't want to do that. So maybe there's a team a little bit lower in the Liga table that I think could be a good fit for him. And then probably Jacob Schaffelberg could be a really good look. I think the Netherlands, there could be a few teams that fit him there. And PSV is one that comes to mind. Maybe the Bundesliga, maybe Belgium. But Schaffelberg and Bombito for sure. Bombito if you're asking for one. Who's your favorite Canadian player? It's a good question. I mean, I have a Jonathan David jersey, so I'd probably I have a nice soft spot for Jonathan David. Obviously it's my job to follow all these players, and they all are great, and I've really enjoyed watching their career so far. I've just had a very, very, very close eye on David's career even before I got into this business. So I have a soft spot for David, and I really like to see him get a big move this summer. And I don't know where he's going to land. My favorite Premier League team is Chelsea, but I don't know if I want that for him. Corbiano has big upside for me. I agree. 100% he does. He needs to find a home pretty much. Like, I'm glad that he was sold. Like, I think the big issue with him is Wolves kept loaning him out, and he couldn't even finish seasons when he was out on loan. He'd have a decent loan spell here, and then they'd take him and they'd put him somewhere else, and he played a lot of wing back, and he never was really comfortable. He was left wing back, right wing back. He'd be thrown all over the place. He needs to find somewhere and just kind of settle into what he's going to do. And now that he's going to be playing with Granada in the second division, I think he's got a probably pretty decent opportunity to start and grow as a player and, help that team push for promotion, because they'll probably be one of the favorites to go right back up. CONCACAF just posted a photo of Davies hung up jersey. Oh, let's pull that up. CONCACAF did or CONMEBOL? Oh, there it is. I'll share it. So it does look like Davies is gonna. I don't know if he's gonna start. Maybe not. I don't know. But he's there. Promise David is interesting. Scored in a friendly already for Union Saint-Gilloise. Had a nice interview with Promise David. If you guys want to check that out, that is a player I was following for a while now. I was able to interview him. Ended up breaking had the exclusive on his move to Union Saint-Gilloise. I'm excited for him because, one, he's an awesome guy. If you guys want to watch an interview with, he's very funny, got a great personality, and he's a very good finisher. He's playing in Estonia, so it was kind of hard to get. Oh, the lineups are out. Oh, what do we got? So yeah, Luke de Fougerolles. Look at the. Okay, I was close, man. All right. Good stuff, guys. All right, I'll bring it up in a sec. Starting numbers. That's awesome. Luke de Fougerolles gets the start. Canada's starting 11. Luke de Fougerolles with his first Canadian Men's national team start. That's wild. Dane St. Clair too. That's wild. So that's a good amount of rotation. All right, let me get it up for you guys. What do you think? Give me a rating out of 10 if you've seen it yet. All right, let's pull this puppy up for you guys. Starting 11. All right, 4-2-3-1. Shaked it up a little bit. Dane St. Clair gets the start. Right back is Johnston. Center back is Bombito and Luke de Fougerolles. Left back is Richie Larea, Kone, and Azorio. Oh, man. We got the three-man midfield, though, so I like it more. And Ahmed in the midfield. So I'm assuming Kone will basically be the most defensive player in this shape that we're going to see. Azorio and Ahmed in there as well. You got Chouanier who can come inward if need be. Maybe it's Ali who goes out wide, Chouanier in the middle. Jacob Schaffelberg obviously goes out wide, and Tanny gets the start up front. I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. I see some of you guys don't seem overly impressed. Are we settling for fourth? It's not the best starting 11 we could have went with, but I'm excited to see some. Oh man. Enjoy the match, everyone. Hoping for a good showing from Canada, and at the very least, a goal or two. Josh, this is the only thing you've close on. I've nailed like every starting 11. What are you talking about? I've been very close, but they've been pretty easy to start. This one I was decently close, but I think I had David in there. I had Eustachio in there as well. And I had Crepeau starting, so is Davies injured? He could be injured, but I mean, he could have like a little bit of a knock. It looks like he's going to be on the bench. At the same time, maybe Bayern do not want him to go out there. We don't know. Arsenal fan says hello. If you guys are just joining us on the stream today, drop a like, drop a sub if you're new. Let me know what you guys think about this starting 11 with heavy rotation. I'm surprised to see Luke paired with Bombito. I thought if Luke got the start, he would be paired with Cornelius. I agree with that, especially because Cornelius had a match off, I believe. Am I losing it? Did he not have a match off? Or maybe he came out at half? So he played against Argentina. Oh, maybe not. He played 90. Oh, he played 45 against Peru. So he had a little bit of break, but he went 90 against Argentina, 45 against Peru, 90 against Chile, 90 against Venezuela, and 90 against Argentina. So Cornelius had basically a half off, and I think Bombito's played. Bombito went 90, 90, 90, 90. Yeah, Bombito's played every minute pretty much. Wild. I like it. This group will go after it. I like Osorio in there, given the fact his career started in Uruguay. We are settling for 4th. The last time I saw rotation this big was at LA. Holy. This formation. I don't know if this is the formation, guys. I don't know if this is the formation. This is just what OneFootball put out. If I had to guess what the formation looks like, I mean, it's definitely no, I would say it's probably a 4-2-3-1. St. Clair is the keeper, obviously. Johnston, Bombito, DeFugerol, Larea, so same back four. My guess is that the double pivot would be Chouanier and Kone. Ali would go out on the right. Schaffelberg would be the left. Osorio would be through the middle as your 10, and then Oluwasi is up front. That's my guess of what it actually is. But I don't know. The good news to see the future. Hey, Jesse said that there's a very good chance we'll see Luc de Fougerolles. He's going to have his very first CanMNT national team start. Bone doesn't like it, though. There will be subs. Can't see Larea lasting more than 45. I hope Waterman and Bear get into the game. I like the lineup. Need to go for third place. Messing around during friendlies. I'm hoping to see 5 subs at halftime. You guys aren't happy, are you? Waterman can play. Why start Dane St. Clair? Probably just to give him a look, man. Like I said, third place games can be treated in a wide variety of ways. You could absolutely go for it. You could use it as an opportunity to play players that you want to see for the future. You could use it as an opportunity to rotate players because you basically use their legs up until this point. I know a lot of our Canadian players are tired. Rotation makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look. Is Uruguay's out yet? I'm assuming so. Let's take a look. So Uruguay went with a very, very strong starting 11. Yeah. Uruguay basically went with their best 11. It's going to be an interesting game. I think St. Clair is going to get smoked. But let's stop acting like we thought we were going to be here. It's time to see who's getting the call for the next round. It's a good way of looking at it. St. Clair is a very good keeper. He is. Just Crapos had an unbelievable tournament. Neither is Chouanier for a big game like this. Some guys are just not ready. Are you sure it's Chouanier? No, this is, again, I didn't make this, guys. This is coming from OneFootball. My guess is Ahmed will be on the right. Kone Chouanier will be in the double pivot, and Osorio will be the 10. Would be my guess. I'm going to say that. My guess is Oso is the 10. Ahmed on the right. And just 1 year. Kone. So that's my guess. Oso at the 10, Ahmed on the right, and Chouanier Kone double pivot. Just in case people are confused. Which they definitely are. Bombito directly caused a couple of our goals in the last 2 matches. Osorio, Kone, Ahmed will be interesting to see. This excites me. Davies is not playing. Maybe he's on the bench. Actually, I didn't even check. Let me check the bench. Is the bench up? Why can't I see the bench? I don't know. Maybe the bench isn't available yet. It looks like Davies is on the bench, so he could potentially come on later in the game. Uruguay is playing their best 11. They are. I'll bring up Uruguay's best 11 as well for you guys. So there's Canada's. And there's your best 11 right there, pretty much. Diffuserol, happy not to play Southgate ball. These fresh legs will be better than our typical starters. Come on, guys. Got to be realistic. This is what going after it looks like right now, all things considered. I don't know if I agree with that 100%, Greg, but there is an argument that this will be a very fresh starting 11, this Canadian side. I don't know if that means that they'll have a better opportunity to win. We should be going for the W. Canucks, I'm not impressed. How's Uruguay's 11? As strong as you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen. Uruguay are clearly going for it. Nunez is in there, Valverde. It's the best. I'm trying to look if there's a player that would get in. No, this is their best 11, right? I think there's a couple injuries. Araujo is obviously injured. He'd probably be in there. Oliveira maybe as well is injured or has got a red card. But he was the other player that probably. So the two center backs aren't their usual starting center backs. Excited to see Diffuserol play. I'm excited to see how they get on. Jesse is cooking, and I'm here for it. Well, Dave's excited for it. This is like a lineup for friendly against Curacao. You guys aren't okay. Give me a rating out of 10. Rate Canada starting 11 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think. Rate Canada starting 11 out of 10. I'll bring it back up. Let me know how you want to rate it. It's coming in kind of hard. I'd say in terms of how if it intrigues me, I'd say like an 8. Watching this game, players that I'll be keeping an eye on: Diffuserol, Chouanier, Ahmed, Oloese. As just kind of, and even Dane Sinclair, kind of interesting to see how he bounces back after that Netherlands performance. And Shaft's always fun to watch. Kone's coming off a strong performance, but intriguing wise, like an 8. Do I think that this team can defeat what Uruguay are putting out? I'm probably leaning more towards like a 4 out of 10. So Yan says a 6, 5, 3. Bones not having it. Big Speed loves it. 7, the old 6.9 from Duly Noted. 4.5, another 6.9 from Dave. Third at our first Copa America would have been huge. Man, we're moving. I'm interested to see how Shaf and Kone do. They look. Kone was our best player against Argentina, hands down. He had 2 matches where he didn't start. For me, it made total sense that Kone was going to start. Eustachio had a ton of minutes. David Laren had a ton of minutes. If he's looking for rotation, it makes sense. Krapos was obviously our starting keeper, but there's always a chance that he was going to be rested to give Dane Sinclair an opportunity to get a look, get an appearance, however you want to look at it. I'm also very interested to see what Diffuserol can do at center back, because he can play as a fullback. The first time I ever watched him play was against Chelsea in a friendly for Fulham. Played as a center back and was really, really impressive. I know it's Chelsea. I know it's a friendly, but it was a really good look to see that this kid's got potential. And now you're tossing him in here for his first Canada start with not a fully Not of the strongest Canada side you're going to have against Uruguay, who are playing their strongest 11 for third. This is going to be an interesting game. 8 and 7 out of 10. Hopefully Canada gets it done. Tyrone, how you doing, my man? Former teammate of myself. I see you in there. 7, we'll see 7 subs. Just need to hold them for the first 45. 5 is Davies and Eustachio. Come on. You do wonder if Marsh is now like Uruguay starting 11, the best guys. Whoops. I don't think so, because there was reports going out there that Bielsa was going to play his best 11. Uruguay tend to have a few leaks, or not even leaks, just full disclosure about what the starting 11 is going to look like. And it seemed like Bielsa said he's gonna be going with his best 11, and that's kind of what we saw. So Jesse had the opportunity to know that. He wanted to rotate players. He wanted to give guys an opportunity, and this is the starting 11 he decided to go with. I think it's easy to judge, but at the end of the day, it's just a third place. Canada has played the last 5 at crazy intense level. The last thing we would need is an unnecessary injury. And yeah, and a lot of people won't see that or even really understand it, because I agree. Like, I want to win this third place game. It does matter to me, and it matters to a lot of Canadians. But to the point here, it is a third place game. You know, that's not like they made the finals. If they made the finals, I think these players' clubs would be more understanding. They're like, all right, you made it to a Copa America final. Like, yeah, you're starting Davies, you're starting David, Eustachio, you push these guys, you fight. This is what you do in a major tournament. The third place match is looked on very differently. So the reason we've seen them scratched. It's the reason we want, like, some argue that the World Cup third place game should never be played. Players are not up for that. They don't want the Copa America third place game to be played. I want it to be played because Canada made it here and we get an extra game against a top nation. But if you're, again, and I don't know this, I'm just trying to understand. We played these players a ton throughout this tournament. And if you're going into a new season, if you're Jonathan David and you want to get a move to Chelsea or Newcastle or whatever it may be, or if you're a Newcastle scout and you're looking at Jonathan David, you don't want him to get injured, or you know there's conversations going on. And same as Davies, maybe going to Madrid, maybe going back to Bayern, new manager coming in. You don't want to go in injured. You don't want to push it. I don't know if these calls increase because it's a third place game versus if it was a final, but there's a ton of rotation here. Jesse's definitely keeping the players' fitness in mind, and potential moves maybe at heart. I don't know. I'm just theorizing here. Tired legs as well. Like, these guys had a ton of minutes, and it's not a final, so like I do kind of get it. And it would have maybe been different if we saw a little bit more rotation throughout the tournament, but we haven't really. I like this lineup, a mix of subs and starters. Well, let's see. We have Johnston, Bombito, Kone, Larea, and I'll count Schaffelberg. So you know what? I'd say we have 6 starters in this tournament, if you want to count Richie as a starter. We have 6 starters and 5 players to really get a look at, and that's Dane St. Clair, who's coming in for Crepeau, Defougerol coming in for Cornelius. I don't know, maybe count Azoria as well. Chouanier, Ahmed, Oluwasi. So yeah, that's 5. Jesse screwed up with Uruguay playing their A team. Luke Defougerol getting thrown into the thick of it. Luke will perform better than people think. Oh, I have no doubt. I think that he's going to be in for a good game. The only time I've seen him play a top-level team, it was against Chelsea. It was a friendly. I know it's different, but he's a talented kid. He seems up for it. Well, I guess we've seen him in a couple cup games, but again, in terms of a top team, Chelsea is one that comes to mind. David was not good last game. I was telling my team I rate him, and he let me down in front of them. I rate David too. He's had a tough tournament. He had obviously that important goal, which is the reason we made it to the quarterfinals. But David and Laren, in terms of finishing, not anything else to do with, you know, what they bring off the ball and the way that Jesse wants his team to line up. Their finishing just hasn't been good enough. And I think every Canadian, I think David and Laren would acknowledge that themselves. But they bought into Jesse's system, that's for sure. Crepeau made the team of the tournament for Ultimate Team. Massive. Yeah, that was a nice card there. I saw an all-Canadian starting 11 on foot or on Ultimate Team. I'm trying to think who. I think I think Crepeau was the highest, or maybe David was. Maybe it was a 97. David was in that team. Crepeau was in there. I think it was Glass City on X tweeted it. It was a nasty looking team. It was impressive. The St. Clair choice is surprising, but Jesse sees something in him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have started against the Dutch. Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I would have just let Crepeau play out this tournament, considering, I don't know if this game would have any impact on the Golden Glove. I don't know, but he's been so good throughout this entire thing. I would have let him see out the tournament. There is some experience on the pitch. There is. Osorio, Larea, Johnston. Kind of, yeah, that's about it. Maybe these fresh legs can give Uruguay a problem. Nope, Nunez is not banned. There were no suspensions handed out yet. There will be, I'm assuming, some to come, but just not yet. But here's Uruguay's starting 11. If anyone hasn't seen it yet, I totally can understand why a player wouldn't want to play the extra game or their team too, especially if you're playing 50 or more games for club. Yeah, that's fair. David and Davies are both on the bench. Too much rotation for my liking, but we move. Still a good squad. Yeah, like I said, the starting 11 I went with, that I kind of thought, I thought it would be a decent amount of rotation, not quite this much. I think I went with Crepeau. I went Johnston. I had Bombito, and I put Kamal Miller in. I thought Kamal would have got the look, and if Luke DeFugerola came in, I put him at left back for Davies, assuming that Davies was injured. So I had a couple rotations in the back with Miller and DeFugerola coming in, and then I had Ali Ahmed out on the right, which is what they did. I had Eustachio and Kone playing. I had David staying in with Oloese, and then I had Schaffelberg. So mine was kind of similar in a way. But yeah, there's a lot of rotation here. Who is the third keeper? McGill? It is McGill. I mean, sometimes you see it, maybe with the last 5 minutes of the game, depending on what the scoreline is, whether maybe Canada's winning 2-0 or losing 2-0. Maybe there's a sub to get some players on who haven't seen the pitch yet. So let's take a look. Let's see who has not touched the pitch yet. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. So I'm just trying to see if we can do it in a way where you can make 5 substitutions and every player would have touched the pitch. So obviously Crepeau did. If you bring on Tom McGill, he can get an appearance. If late in the game you take Dane off, Dane's starting. Davies, Cornelius, Miller, Johnston, Kamal Miller, Tejan. So Joel Waterman needs to come on. Kyle Hebert needs to come on. Bombito and DeFugerola. I don't think Piet's come on. Eustachio, Kone, Ahmed, Schwanier, Schaffelberg, Larea, Osorio, Laren, David, Bear has not, and Russell Rowe has not. So you can't get every player on. So maybe McGill doesn't come on. And if you try to get every player on the pitch, you can go Russell Rowe, Theo Bear, Samuel Piet, Hebert, and Waterman. And you play every player except for Tom McGill. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you go with David and Laren and Davies. David needs his confidence back. Jesse should look to sub him in. There's a chance. I don't know what the substitutions are going to look like, man. I don't. I really don't. Thoughts on Russell Rowe? Thought Russell Rowe would get minutes. I did too. I kind of thought that he may be the third striker. Before this tournament started, I kind of thought that he'd be the main man coming off the bench. I don't know why. Maybe it was a gut feeling, but I should have probably read a little bit more into it. Tanny's rise over this last few years has really been impressive, from getting that loan move to San Antonio, scoring a ton of goals there, coming back to Minnesota, showing that, I'm going to stick around, coming off the bench, scoring goals, getting assists, getting starts, still scoring goals, getting assists. He got Jesse's attention so much so that he was brought in as a 27th player for those 2 friendlies against the Netherlands and France. He then brought him into the Copa America squad, and the only striker that has come on in the matches we've played so far in Copa America has been Tani Oluwaseyi. So in terms of just common sense, the depth chart for Canada strikers right now would probably, for my liking, or what I think Jesse thinks, is David, Laren, Tani Oluwaseyi. That is how I think it goes. And then I don't know, because Russell Rowe and Bear have not really got looks yet. I kind of have a gut feeling that Bear is now the next man up, and then Russell Rowe. I think Russell Rowe was a late sub in one of the games. Was he? You might be right. That's ringing a bell. I think you're right. You are right. He came on for 5 minutes. Good catch. So if you don't put Russell Rowe on and you put Tom McGill on, every player would have touched the pitch. Because yes, he did not play against the last Argentina, Venezuela, Chile, Peru, but he got 5 minutes against Argentina in the very first match. Good catch. Forgot about that. So there you go, man. I don't know. Then you could do it. You could literally play every single Canadian then. I don't know now, man. I feel like I'm in my own head. I now feel like it could be what we see. Very late in the game, like literally the 90th minute, you just put Tom McGill on to show that he's been on. You bring on Hebert maybe for Richie. You bring on Joel Waterman for Defougerol. You bring on Piet for Osorio. You bring on Russell Rowe for maybe Schaffelberg, and then you put on Bear for Oluwasi. And then every player has touched the pitch. Maybe that's what Jesse's focusing on. I don't know. Does Jesse go 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3? I kind of think 4-2-3-1. I'll put it back on the squad and just tell you guys what I think it's going to be. I kind of have a feeling it's going to be Dane St. Clair's the keeper, Johnson, Bombito, Defougerol, Larea. I think it will be Chouanier and Kone as your double pivot, Osorio as your 10, Ahmed on the right, Schaffelberg on the left, Oluwasi up front. That's what I think he's going to do. If they get third, this is amazing progress for 2026. It is. I feel a lot less likely that it's going to happen now. Schaffelberg all 90 minutes? Not a chance. I'd say my guess is Schaffelberg will go at the most 60, maybe only to halftime. He looked exhausted at the end of. I mean, he's a workhorse. I'm gonna say I'd say 60, and that would be I'd feel pretty safe on that. I bet you he goes 60. If he's having a tough time, maybe 45. We had the chance to do something special today. Medaling at a Copa America is a big deal for us. Honestly, I'm disappointed we're not even going for it. I feel a little bit disappointed too, man. But I should, like I said, I shouldn't. None of us really should feel disappointed. This team overachieved and did a lot more than I thought we were going to do. Getting a manager a mere weeks before the tournament started, and got this team that had a really bad 2023. That we had to go through the qualifiers to even get here to beat Trinidad and Tobago, and then take them to a semifinal, play all 6 matches at Copa America. I am happy. I am proud. It's almost like a little bittersweet. It's like it's so incredibly impressive that we got here, because I didn't think we were going to, really. I really did not think we were going to. Once we hired Jesse, I was like, you know what? Maybe. But still, I'm not getting my hopes up. Wasn't always pretty. We found a way. I think this team can play better. But Jesse had to come in here and he had to focus on, just the basics. And I think he got this team defending really well. He got the structure right. He got how he wanted to play. The finishing wasn't really there throughout this tournament, but the results were, for the most part. I mean, we're not expected to beat Argentina, so losing 2-0 in the semifinals is nothing to hang your head about. It just now feels like, we have the chance for third, and it's almost like we're kind of packing it in. Maybe these guys will be up for it. Fresh legs, motivated, want the third more from Uruguay. Maybe that's it. That's what I'm going to tell myself. But I understand it, considering that this is for third. A lot of these players have big seasons coming up. I do get both sides. Okay, Russell Rowe came in against Argentina in that first match. He did. Good catch, guys. So that means, like I said, you could bring on 5 players in this match. The 5 subs could already be predetermined, and everyone would play in this tournament. And maybe that's what Jesse's going for. Like, the starting 11 tells me there's more of a likelihood that we see the 5 players that we have not seen in the tournament so far, and we just roll the dice that this is what we're going to do, than Jesse going and bringing on David Davies Laren. Bear and Waterman haven't seen the pitch. Yeah, am I wrong? Can anyone just double check for me. I'm pretty sure there's 5 players that have not seen the pitch. And let me know if I'm getting it wrong, because I forgot about Russell Rowe. So I don't think Bears touched the pitch. I don't think Piet has touched the pitch. Hebert, Waterman, and McGill. That's 5. So if we get all 5, everyone has touched the pitch. I'm going to check on Samuel Piet. I don't think he did. No, Samuel Piet did not get any minutes. So I think I'm right. Russell Rowe had those 5, so maybe there's a chance, man. Bear needs to see the pitch. We haven't seen what he can do, and it'll be a different profile from what we've seen. Yeah, I hope Theo comes on. I really do. Good luck tonight, guys. I appreciate that. Jesse want to call up players that can play, not just wear the uniform. This is needed for more than winning 3 because we need a bench. I think some fans are being a little too arrogant. Our best 11 is not good enough to beat Uruguay. No, like I said, I think most Canadians, I think most Canadian fans realize that even with our best 11, defeating Uruguay would be a tough task. So considering that this is not our best 11, I think that's where some Canadian fans are like, what's going on? Would bronze here be more significant / more merit than the Olympic bronze for soccer? That's a really good question. I don't know if you want to open up that to the women's side of things, but obviously for the women, it's that they bring their best 11s. There's no rules around it really. For the men, it's a youth tournament, but you get overagers. Some countries take it seriously, some don't. I'd say more South American, and depending on the tournament, like when Brazil hosted, Brazil went for it. Brazil's also had a lot of talented teams. That 2012 team was just disgusting with Neymar, Oscar, Pato. The U.S. will go for it. Mexico will go for it as much as they can. Again, there's also rules around players that are allowed to be released. Edson Alvarez in the last Olympics wanted to play in the Olympics, but Ajax said no, so he wasn't allowed to play, but you can't reject him from playing Copa America, so he played Copa America. If you're focusing on just the men, I would say a bronze here is more significant than if Canada was in the Olympics and we finished bronze there, because this is a best-on-best tournament. Look at the United States. The United States could have had a much better team at this Olympics, but some players weren't released. Some were looking for transfers. Some didn't want to go. That's just not their best team. But if you're opening up what's more merit, like with the women are playing their best team. So it's I hope I explained that well, Joshua. But yes, if you're looking at just the men's, the bronze here is to me more impressive than if we would have picked up bronze at the Olympics. Copa America is more prestigious than men's Olympic soccer, in my opinion. I agree. If the game is close, 4 subs at half, David, Eustachio, Miller. I'm telling you, man, I'm going to call it right. Well, I'm not going to call it, but I'm going to say if Jesse Marsh is going off of just trying to get everyone on the pitch, because he said, I don't know if it's a coincidence that only 5 players have not touched the pitch yet. But I could see Bear coming on for Oluwaseyi, Russell Rowe coming on for Schaffelberg, Piet coming on for, I don't know, Kone, Chouanier, Osorio, take your pick. No, not Russell Rowe. Sorry, that's my bad. No, it's Bear coming on for Oluwaseyi, Piet coming on for Osorio. Waterman for DeFougerolles, Hebert for Larea, and then McGill comes on for Dane Sinclair with a minute left. That's what I can see. That way, every single player got on the pitch. Or he does nothing like that. He goes for it, and we see the big dogs. In that case, I would say we have a good chance of seeing probably Laren, David, Eustachio, Davies, and then maybe Liam Miller, maybe Cornelius. Aiden Morris, does he regret not coming to Canada? Talk about players that snubbed Canada and now do not play anymore. It's hard to know. I mean, Aiden Morris went to the Gold Cup with the United States. He then is now going to the Olympics, I believe. I believe he was supposed to go to the Olympics. Maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know if he regrets it or not. Some people just, if he doesn't feel Canadian, doesn't want to play for Canada, maybe it just doesn't bug him. If he feels American, wants to play for America and no one else, then you can't really fault a player for that. How good is Luke Defoe's role? I know he's at Fulham at 18, but I haven't seen him play much. I think he's a player with a lot of promise. I think that this could be hopefully a good opportunity for him to have a big season. Maybe that's a loan move. Maybe it's just playing more minutes at a professional level with Fulham this season. But I think that he's a talent. I really do. He's still very young, man. A lot. I don't expect him to get a ton of minutes at Fulham. That's why I think if we want to see him have professional minutes, probably a loan move's needed, maybe to the championship level. But this is a player who could be our starting center back for years to come. Maybe if he gets that move and he has a big season in the championship, it could be even as early as next season. I wonder what Ugbo is thinking now, opting not to make himself available. It's a tough one, man. I don't know. Ugbo or Tanny going forward? I'm a big fan of Ike Ugbo. I think it's a shame that he didn't make himself available. I wish he did. I don't really know what else to say. I would like to see him get another chance. Jesse said that he's not done. So hopefully, maybe he gets the move he needs this summer, get some rest, and can keep firing because he's a striker I think that Canada could really use. But I don't know, man. If he doesn't make himself available, then I think Tanny's got the next man up mentality where like I said, I think he's a third striker right now in the depth chart, and he got the start. So kind of falls in line with that. And the last comment of the day, Gordo says Aiden Morris wasn't released by Middlesbrough for the Olympics. So there you go. He doesn't even get to the Olympics. So maybe, because like I said, a lot of U.S. players do want to play at the Olympics. He wasn't released. That can happen. It's tough. I don't know if he's regretting it or not. He could have been at a Copa America. He could have been an important player. He was such a needed position, man. I was gutted when he decided to go with the U.S. But it is what it is, and I won't hold the player to it, considering if that's where his heart is. I completely respect it. But that is all the time, guys. If you're still with us on the stream, drop a like on your way out. Drop a sub. If you're new around here, go over to One Soccer for the watch along. We'll be starting it at 7:45. And before I get going, a final word from our channel sponsors, BetStamp. If you want to bet on really any sports, the Trivago of sports betting is the way to do it. Exciting news for the channel. I'm thrilled to announce that JJD TV is partnering up with BetStamp and Sign-Up Expert. This opens up an incredible opportunity for you to join up with some of my favorite sports books to get the best odds and user offers throughout Copa America. Head over to my dedicated page at signupexpert.com/JJDTV to explore a selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with unique offerings. If you're ready to take your sports betting to the next level throughout this tournament and want to show some love for the channel, I highly recommend you signing up for your next sports book through my Sign Up Expert link. You can easily find it in the description of this video. All right, that's all. Thank you guys so much. Cheers.